Hi, Lou here to talk about what might be a surprising question about a game design. Was the tabletop game too short? Of course, the usual playtesting question is the game too long? Of course, you can ask testers what they think about the length. I prefer sometimes short games, sometimes long games. The question is, can you do both in one game, and why is a greater length justified? Well, to me, the length of the game has to be proportional to what players get out of it. That is, to the different kinds of things players do and think about during the game. If it's very simple and there's no depth to it and people are doing the same thing over and over again, then it needs to be a short game. Like party games, for example. Many are like that, not all. And there's a lot of pablum and bagatelles in games nowadays that have to be short because there's just not a lot there. For the really long games, the length itself might contribute to the epic feel, the immersion in the game. So I have a quote from Rich Shipley, Length. Lots of long games work fine and wouldn't work if shortened. Diplomacy, Civilization, Empires and Arms. A big part of the game is the immersion achieved by the game length. It isn't something a game needs to be saved from. I completely agree with that. Nonetheless, there are people who won't, or at least say they won't, play a long game. I always remember being at a game designer's convocation quite a few years ago, and somebody said, I want to play games all day, but I'm not going to play a game longer than 1 hour. I don't know why he had that attitude. And I have found that many people who claim they only want to play short games, if they start to play a longer game that's interesting, they don't mind the length at all. Again, it's a matter of how much interest there is in the game, and some games have a lot more interest than others. Well, where does the interest come from? That's not what I'm addressing here, but it comes from gameplay depth, which is rare these days, from variety, which is a lot more common, from novelty, but the novelty wears off. Something is novel only the first few times you deal with it, and then it becomes familiar. Can you get short and long in the same game? Well, some genres of tabletop games don't provide room for that. CCGs, collectible card games, for example, rarely have a second version. Euros rarely do, except via expansions. They want you to buy an expansion in order to have a different version. And that's okay. Some games call out for a particular length. War games, on the other hand, often include scenarios of lesser or greater length so that you can have both short and long. The important thing, as usual, is to think about what you're doing and about how much interest is in your game compared to the length. Thanks for listening.